The North African desert. Dust hangs thick in the air, the ground trembling under the tracks of German Panzer IVs. Inside their steel beasts, German crews feel confident. They had faced British armor before, predictable, slow, clumsy with flags and runners. But then 5 American Sherman tanks roll into view, scattered by hills and ravines. They can't even see one another, yet somehow they move as one. One pivots, the others follow. One halts, the rest adjust instantly. Their turrets swing like synchronized dancers, covering every blind spot. The Germans stare in disbelief. Where were the signals? The flags? The chaos? The answer was something they had never imagined. The Americans were speaking. Every tank, every crew, connected by radios that turned 5 machines into one organism. Inside the German panzers, it was a different story. Their Fug 5 radios were weak, drowning in static under engine noise. Only the platoon leader had a transmitter. The rest could only listen. If he fell, the entire unit went silent. A panzer might spot an ambush ahead. But without a transmitter, its crew was voiceless. They fought isolated duels instead of coordinated battles. In modern war, isolation meant death. Every Sherman carried the SCR 508 or its variants, powerful FM radios with clear, interference-free communication. 25 watts of transmission power, crystal control stability, and up to 10 preset channels. More importantly, dual receivers allowed commanders to monitor company orders while leading their platoons. In practice, this meant Shermans never truly fought alone. Even when separated by terrain or smoke, a voice was always a button away. This network gave American crews a confidence their German counterparts could not imagine. They weren't just men in steel boxes. They were part of something bigger, a living web of communication. The Kasserine Pass. German intelligence units intercepted American transmissions. What they heard was astonishing. Clear voices coordinating over miles of desert, orders bouncing smoothly from tank to tank. First, they dismissed it as training discipline. But soon, they realized the truth. American technology itself was revolutionary. For the Germans, losing one command tank meant chaos. For the Americans, even scattered units fought as a coordinated team. This invisible advantage would only grow as the war moved from North Africa to Europe and Italy and later in Normandy. Radios turned Shermans into more than just tanks. They became nodes in the battlefield network. Infantry could call armor support instantly. Artillery could be redirected mid-battle. Air support could be coordinated within minutes. This fluid communication allowed the Allies to adapt faster than the Germans. Where German forces relied on rigid pre-planned orders, American units could improvise, react, and overwhelm. 18 Normandy. Shermans often faced Panthers and Tigers that outgunned them. But while German tanks fought as isolated predators, Shermans fought as packs, sharing information, flanking, coordinating. Time and again, the inferior Sherman won through teamwork made possible by radios. This wasn't just about tactics. It was about morale. American tankers knew that even when cut off, they were never truly alone. A call for help might bring artillery, airstrikes, or another platoon racing to their aid. That sense of connection built courage. German crews, by contrast, often fought in silence. Many veterans later described the isolation as terrifying. When their command tank went down, they were blind, deaf, and doomed. History often debates the Sherman, its thin armor, its smaller gun compared to German tanks. Critics call inferior a death trap, but what they overlook is that wars are not won by machines alone. They are won by systems, by the ability to connect men, weapons, and decisions into one living network. And that's what the Sherman represented. For the first time in history, a tank was not just a weapon. It was part of history's first real battlefield communications web. That invisible edge, those radio waves carrying the voices of soldiers, were as decisive as any shell or cannon that in the deserts of North Africa. The hills of Italy and the hedgerows of Normandy, one lesson echoed again and again. A tank's greatest weapon isn't always its gun. Sometimes it's its voice. The Sherman may never have been the strongest tank of World War II, but with radios linking every crew, it became something far more powerful. A force that fought together, survived together, and ultimately helped win the war.